Hello there, I'm Nakia Bashrudin and you're watching Nightline. The headlines. Police arrest suspect in Cheras MRT robbery. And court declares Rantau seat vacant. Welcome. Police have arrested a man believed to be the one who assaulted and robbed a woman in a lift at the Taman Mutiara Mass Rapid Transit Station in Cheras on Thursday. Kuala Lumpur Police Chief Datuk Sri Mazlan Lazim said the 26-year-old was detained in Jalan Cheras in Taman Cheras at 8:10 p.m. on Monday. The arrest, he said, was made by a team of Serious Crimes Division policemen from the Cheras Police Headquarters. He said the man would be brought to court to be remanded on Tuesday. On Thursday, a 48-year-old woman was punched and kicked several times by the robber in the lift. In the 6:45 a.m. incident, the suspect followed the victim into the lift before assaulting her and running away with her belongings. The victim suffered injuries to several parts of her body and swelling on her forehead. Meanwhile, Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Sri Dr. Wan Azizah Wan Ismail urged all parties to enhance the overall safety and monitoring mechanism in areas where crime is rampant, other than depending on closed-circuit television (CCTV). She said this is to ensure that swift action can be taken should an untoward incident occur in the area.
Kita nakkan pengawasan yang lebih menyeluruh lah. Sepatutnya ada pengawasan sepanjang masa. Maksud dia CCTV, so adalah mesti control room kan, supaya tidaklah nampak macam the poor girl kena belasah seorang tu. At least ada immediate action.
She was commenting on the recent case where a woman was brutally assaulted and robbed in a lift at the Taman Mutiara MRT station in Cheras on Thursday. Datuk Sri Dr. Wan Azizah, who is also Women, Family and Community Development Minister, also advised women to avoid travelling alone and to learn self-defence techniques. The Rantau State Assembly seat in Negeri Sembilan will see a by-election after UMNO Deputy President Datuk Sri Muhammad Hassan lost his appeal bid at the federal court. This was after the Apex Court dismissed the former three-term assemblyman's appeal against election court's decision in declaring the 14th general election results for the Rantau State seat as being null and void. The five-man bench led by Chief Justice Tan Sri Richard Malanjum on Monday unanimously decided on the dismissal of Muhammad's appeal against the election court's decision. The other judges were Datuk Sri David Wong Dakwa, Datuk Alizatul Khair Osman Khairuddin, Datuk Tengku Maimun Tuan Mat and Datuk Rohana Yusof. The bench also ordered the Election Commission and Datuk Sri Muhammad to pay 10,000 ringgit each in damages to PKR candidate Dr. S. Sreram. Datuk Sri Muhammad on November 29th last year appealed against the decision by the Seremban Election Court, which ordered a fresh election after allowing Dr. Sreram's election petition to nullify Datuk Sri Muhammad's victory. The election court judge Dato' Azimah Omar declared the results for the state seat as null and void after ruling that the UMNO deputy president was not duly elected as Rantau assemblyman. She held that there was no election rule stating that an electoral candidate, proposer and seconder should have a tag or pass to submit the nomination form. Meanwhile, PKR Vice President Zuraida Kamaruddin has expressed hope that the party's leadership would consider female candidates to contest in the Rantau by-election. This is in view that there were no female candidates being fielded in the past by-elections, including in Semenyih.
Saya memang selalu mengangkat agenda wanita dan saya akan minta untuk agar kali ini diberikan peluang kepada calon wanita untuk bertanding, memandangkan Negeri Sembilan juga adalah negeri yang mengamalkan adat pepatih.
Zuraida said among the criteria the candidate should possess is the desire to serve the people. It was earlier reported that Zuraida had opposed to Dr. Sreeram Sinnasamy being fielded again by the party for the upcoming by-election, following a court order to hold a re-election for the state seat. Instead, Zuraida said she was proposing a woman to contest in the seat. The federal court also returned the election petition filed by Pakatan Harapan candidate Datuk Sri Khairuddin Abu Hassan, who contested the Jasin parliamentary seat in the 14th general election, to the election court for trial. A five-man bench led by Chief Justice Tan Sri Richard Malanjam allowed Datuk Sri Khairuddin's appeal to remit the case for hearing of the merits before a new election court judge. Allowing the appeal unanimously, Justice Tan Sri Richard said the court accepted the two grounds submitted by Datuk Sri Khairuddin's counsel, Datuk Sri Gopal Sriram. The court agreed with Datuk Sri Gopal that the petition was properly filed in the election court in Kuala Lumpur and that Datuk Sri Khairuddin had pleaded sufficient particulars in his petition. Tan Sri Richard set this Friday for mention of the case. The Chief Justice also ordered Ahmad Hamzah to pay 20,000 ringgit in costs. Datuk Sri Khairuddin, the former Batu Kawan UMNO Vice Chief, filed the election petition in June last year under Section 34C of the Election Offences Act 1954. He sought a declaration that the result for the Jasin parliamentary seat in GE14 was null and void, claiming that the BN politician was unlawfully elected and that a fresh election should be held. Election Court Judge Datuk Che Muhammad Ruzima Ghazali had dismissed Datuk Sri Khairuddin's petition on grounds that the petition should be filed at the Malacca High Court, the place where the election was held, and not in the Kuala Lumpur High Court. Syarikat Jaminan Pembiayaan Perniagaan Berhad (SJPP) on Monday launched a 2 billion ringgit special government guarantee scheme to help the small and medium enterprises (SMEs) leap towards Industry 4.0. Finance Minister Lim Guan Eng said the 2 billion ringgit was part of a total of 6.5 billion ringgit guarantees allocated in the 2019 budget, designed to increase access to financing for the local SMEs.
This is important as you find the banks are naturally very risk adverse and generally prefer to lend to large companies as well as to those who do not actually need any financing. Through SJPP, we hope to change this and help to spur the SME sector forward.
Lim said this in his speech at the launch of the scheme in Kuala Lumpur. The scheme was designed based on SME's contribution of 37% to the Malaysian gross domestic product last year. Under the 2 billion ringgit guarantee scheme, up to 70% of borrowings made by SMEs would be guaranteed by SJPP. Since its inception in 2009, SJPP had made available a total of 35 billion ringgit guarantees, of which 18 billion ringgit has been used up and benefited 14,000 SMEs nationwide. Currently, 13 banks were actively working to promote guarantee schemes by SJPP. Meanwhile, speaking to reporters later, Lim also said updates on Samurai Bond would be announced next month. The moratorium on bauxite mining activities will be lifted in April. Water, Land and Natural Resources Minister Dr. Xavier Jayakumar said all existing 435,000 tonnes of bauxite stockpiled at the Kuantan and Kemaman ports must be cleared by March 31st. Dr. Xavier said the Cabinet had agreed to a new standard operating procedure which incorporated 4 important aspects. They are bauxite extract management, transportation and enforcement, storage area and management at the ports, and the export of bauxite. He stressed that those who disregard the rules will be heavily penalized. The Pahang Iron Ore Operators Association had long been seeking the government to lift the moratorium imposed since 2015 due to concerns over rising pollution from the activity. The association estimates that at least 90% of the bauxite was still unmined, and if managed properly, this could rejuvenate Kuantan's economy. Communications and Multimedia Minister Gobind Singh Deo on Monday has instructed Radio Television Malaysia (RTM) to submit a report over an allegation that the national broadcaster attempted to sabotage the government. He said he was waiting for the report from RTM for further action.
It was raised last night. I had a look at it early this morning before I went to the airport. I've asked RTM to give me a report on it. And of course, once I have the report, then I will make necessary. It's not about print, it's about live coverage. Yeah. So this is why I've asked RTM to let me know, in particular when there was a request for them to cover the event, to what were the terms, and of course what are the SOPs, and I think these are things I got to look at before I comment on it.
Broadband services.
Gobind said this when he was asked to comment on an allegation by Lim Swee Kwan, an aide of Transport Minister Anthony Loke Siew Fook, that RTM had not broadcast a report on the minister during the live telecast of the 2019 Chinese New Year open house at Dataran Centrio in Seremban on Sunday night. Lim suggested a possibility of sabotage by the state-owned broadcaster against the federal government. According to the aide, RTM also did not report any part of the speech by Negeri Sembilan Menteri Besar Datuk Seri Aminuddin Harun. He demanded that action be taken against the station and that a letter of complaint will be sent to the ministry over this issue. Parti Warisan Sabah President Datuk Seri Shafie Apdal said the party will not stop any party from setting foot in Sabah, including Parti Pribumi Bersatu Malaysia or Bersatu. He also advised the party's supporters to remain calm over the development.
My advice is not to be emotional, and we remain focused to develop the state for the benefit of the people of Sabah, governing Sabah to the best of our ability and ensuring our right will be reinstated and affirmed as per the Malaysian Agreement 1963 or MS63 remains our priority.
Speaking to the media representatives in Kota Kinabalu on Monday, Datuk Seri Shafie said Sabahans had given Warisan the mandate to govern the state in the 14th general election. As such, the party will continue to govern the state as best as it can to ensure development and provide jobs. Datuk Seri Shafie also said Warisan had worked with Pakatan Harapan before, forming the federal government together after the 14th general election, and the party will continue to work with Pakatan Harapan for the best interests of the people. Meanwhile, Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin thanked Datuk Seri Shafie for being open about Parti Pribumi Bersatu Malaysia's plans to enter Sabah. The Bersatu president said he is grateful over Datuk Seri Shafie's professional handling of the matter and that the latter's non-emotional approach will allow both parties to focus on developing the state in line with the mandate given by voters in the GE14.
Saya rasa sukacita dan amat berterima kasih dengan kenyataan yang telah pun dikeluarkan oleh beliau yang tidak menghalang kemasukan Bersatu di negeri Sabah. Malahan secara langsung kita boleh membantu memperkukuhkan kerajaan warisan yang ada di Sabah.
Tan Sri Muhyiddin said the process to register new Bersatu members in Sabah will take a few weeks. He also stressed that former UMNO members who intend to join Bersatu will be screened properly. He was speaking to the media after a meet and greet session with the locals in Berenang Semenyih on Monday. The Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission MACC has commenced investigations into an affidavit filed by Courts of Appeal Judge Datuk Dr. Hamid Sultan Abu Bakar of alleged misconduct and rigging of cases by certain judiciary members. The commission said that it met with Hamid at his chambers in the Palace of Justice in Putrajaya on Monday to further inquire on the 65-page affidavit he filed with the High Court on February 14th. According to the Commission in a statement, Datuk Hamid refused to have his statement recorded but had suggested for a special task force to be set up. The MACC said it will scrutinize the contents of the affidavit and it will pursue its investigations to determine if there are elements of corruption and power abuse in accordance to laws under the MACC Act 2009. The Commission also urged the public to channel any information on allegations stated in the affidavit and assured that informants would be protected under the Whistleblowers Protection Act. The 16th Yang di-Pertuan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah on Monday graced the Monarch exhibition at Gallery Prima Balai Berita in Bangsar, Kuala Lumpur. He was accompanied by his consort, Tengku Ampuan Pahang Tengku Azizah Aminah Maimunah Iskandariyah, on his inaugural 3-hour visit to the gallery and newsroom. The exhibition, which showcases more than 80 images, features photographs and news clippings from the installation of the first Agong in 1957 to the swearing-in of Al-Sultan Abdullah on January 31st. There is also an image of the Agong at the Bersiram ceremony in 1977 before he was proclaimed the Tengku Mahkota of Pahang. Some of the pieces from the exhibition that caught the Agong's attention was a New Straits Times front-page picture of his installation ceremony and an image of the former Raja Permaisuri Agong, Sultanah Zanariah Tengku Ahmad, adjusting the sleeves of the uniform worn by her husband, the 8th Agong, Sultan Iskandar Ibni Almarhum Sultan Ismail, at the sending-off ceremony following the completion of His Majesty's 5-year term. After viewing the exhibition, Al-Sultan Abdullah and Tengku Azizah Aminah visited the editorial floor of Balai Berita, where he chose the front page for the following day's publication and had a light-hearted and jovial conversation with the editors. Also present during the Agong's visit was Media Prima Berhad Chairman Datuk Muhammad Nasir Ahmad, New Straits Times Press Chairman Tan Sri Ismail Omar, NSTP Chief Operating Officer Datuk Sri Abdul Jalil Hamid, and MPB News and Editorial Operations Executive Director Mustafa Kamil Muhammad Janor.
Catch the auto segment every Friday on Nightline! Woo! Wow!
More to come on Nightline. Adib inquest. Blunt objects may have caused fireman Adib's injuries. Stay with us. Welcome back. The injuries sustained by firefighter Muhammad Adib Muhammad Qasim during the Sri Maha Mariamman Temple riot last November were believed to have been caused by blunt objects. The 10th witness in the inquest into the death of Adib, Muhammad Hafizan Nordin, said his assumption was based on the injuries he saw on the firefighter. Hafizan said Adib was shirtless when he loaded the firefighter onto his truck. He revealed that he saw blue and red bruises under Adib's armpit until his right ribs. Hafizan also said that Adib was unconscious and was not responding to his call. He stressed that based on his experience when he was serving as a medical assistant at the Malaysian Army, he assumed the injuries were caused by hard footwear, not a wooden weapon. The 33-year-old bodyguard said he then sent Adib to Subang Jaya Medical Center, which is about 15 minutes from the temple. The inquest continues on Tuesday. One Malaysia Development Berhad, or 1MDB whistleblower Andre Xavier Justo, is under investigation by the Swiss authorities for economic espionage. It was reported that the Swiss Justice Minister Simonetta Sommaruga had authorized to prosecute Justo. The Swiss Broadcasting Corporation reported that an investigation into Justo, who in 2015 leaked 1MDB-related documents from PetroSaudi International, was opened in November last year. Justo, who was arrested for leaking the documents from the oil and gas firm, was later jailed in Thailand for allegedly demanding payment in exchange for not disclosing confidential information. PetroSaudi accused him of having stolen the data, which revealed corruption involving the 1MDB fund to the tune of $4.5 billion, but Justo claimed he was given the information by an IT engineer. Last month, the Edge Media Group chairman gave Justo a gift of $2 million for his role in exposing the 1MDB scandal. The Swiss Office of the Attorney General later confirmed the probe, but declined to give further information on the case. In Pulau Pinang, police have crippled a local drug syndicate with a seizure of more than 70 kilograms of drugs at a mini drug processing laboratory on Saturday. Bukit Aman Narcotics Crime Investigation Department Director Datuk Sri Muhammad Saleh said police conducted 3 simultaneous raids in Butterworth, Air Hitam and Jelutong and arrested 4 men in their 30s and 40s, including the 49-year-old syndicate head. The case is being investigated under Section 39, subsection B of the Dangerous Drugs Act 1952. A suit brought by former Bersih 2.0 chairperson Maria Chin Abdullah against the Inspector General of Police, the Home Minister and the government over her wrongful detention under the Security Offences Special Measures Act SOSMA in 2016 was settled amicably. All parties have agreed to resolve the dispute after the 3 defendants agreed to pay 25,000 ringgit in damages and 5,000 ringgit in costs to Maria Chin. Whereas in Johor, 7 employers were fined between 5,000 and 30,000 ringgit for hiring illegal workers. They allegedly committed the offences between October 15, 2018 and January 11, 2019. The charge under Section 55E of the Immigration Act provides a maximum fine of 30,000 ringgit or not more than 12 months imprisonment or both upon conviction. Also in Johor, an elderly couple were injured following a wall collapse at their house in Kampung Rumah 10, Plentong Tengah, Johor Bahru. In the 4 p.m. incident on Sunday, Azizan Ibrahim, age 73, suffered head and shoulder injuries, while his wife, Rahma Muhammad, 73, was hurt in the leg. Both were taken to Sultan Ismail Hospital for treatment and are now in stable condition. After the break, fresh gun battle kills 7 in Kashmir. We'll be right back. We're back with the foreign news. In India, at least 7 people, including 2 armed rebels and 5 Indian Army soldiers, have been killed in an ongoing gun battle in Kashmir. The gun battle on Monday in Pinglan village on Pulwama district comes days after 42 Indian security personnel were killed in a suicide blast. According to a senior Indian Army official, the operation against the rebels was launched early on Monday, following intelligence inputs about their presence in a house in Pinglan village. The operation is still in progress and the identity of the rebels was being ascertained. In the United Kingdom, 7 pro-Europe lawmakers abruptly quit the opposition Labour Party on Monday, citing their frustration with its leader Jeremy Corbyn's handling of Brexit and anti-Semitism allegations in the ranks. Luciana Berger, Chris Leslie, Angela Smith, Gavin Shuker, Mike Gapes, Anne Coffey and Chuka Umumna confirmed their resignations at a press conference in London. The 7 said that they would continue to sit in Parliament as an independent group. The departure of the lawmakers underlines the mounting frustration with Corbyn's reluctance to change his Brexit strategy. With only 39 days until Britain leaves the EU, divisions over Brexit have fragmented British politics, breaking down traditional party lines and creating new coalitions across the country's left-right divide. And that's it for Nightline this time around. As we draw Nightline to a close, let's take a look at this spectacular rime scenery at Huangshizai Scenic Spot in central China's Hunan province. With that, I'm Nakia Basharuddin. Thanks for keeping me company.